statistics of modern times are telling us today that they are leaders we can trust. Trust to do what? To take our economy back into doomsday, to take our economy back into recession.
Flag bearer of the NDC, John Mahama, slams the government over the construction of dams in the northern part of the country under the One Village, One Dam project.
They went and started again, one village, one pond. Those little duck ponds that ducks swim in, they call dams. Those dams have been a complete waste of government resources.
Also coming up, National Democratic Party dismisses reports as flag bearer Nana Konadu Ajiman Rawlings has pulled out of the 2020 elections.
Our leader is grieving and should be allowed to do so in peace. Our presidential candidate has not taken any decision to pull out of the race and has not been in communication with the EC.
And later, National Communications Authority NCA refused claims it intends to cause disruptions in media broadcasts and internet services on Election Day.
Let's bring you details of our stories. And President Akufo-Addo is urging the people of the Eastern region to vote massively for the NPP in the December polls.
Nana Akufo-Addo says the region has benefited from the many programs and policies implemented by his administration. Citi News' correspondent at the presidency, Sami Wiafi, has more in this report.
Wrapping up his two-day tour of the Eastern region, which began on Sunday, President Akufo-Addo says Ghana's developmental agenda cannot be disrupted. The tour took the president to the Etiwa East and West constituencies, Fantiakwa, Ebuakwa North, Ekuapem South, Esujamai, and the Lower Manya constituencies. Nana Akufo-Addo says the many promises he made to Ghanaians, including the people of the Eastern region, in the run-up to the 2016 election, have been fulfilled in the last 4 years. The president is therefore appealing to Ghanaians to give him another 4 years to continue with the developmental agenda. He says the NPP is the only political party in Ghana with a blueprint to Ghana's development.
All the negative propaganda. NPP, we don't like Krobo people. Look at what is happening in Upper Manya since we won Upper Manya constituency. Look at what is happening here in Lower Manya. The various projects and initiatives that are taking place. Political leaders who created an economic mess with the worst statistics of modern times are telling us today that they are leaders we can trust. Trust to do what? To take our economy back into doomsday, to take our economy back into recession, to take our economy back into hyperinflation. Is that what we need? Is that the leadership of the country that we need? We're looking for different leadership. We're looking for leadership that is going to bring progress and prosperity to our country, not backwardness and false claims. I came here to ask you one question. You have seen my work for the last 4 years. You have seen my work. If the work is satisfactory, if you find the work has been satisfactory, what I'm asking you here, Manya Krobo, to do, give me the opportunity to continue to do my work.
Minister of Roads and Highways, Kwesi Amwakwata, who is traveling with the president, says the Eastern region has had its fair share of road construction.
MPP Nkwana Eba Power, Yenyamfaswo. MPP Nkwana Eba Power, Yenyamfaswo, and politics, power, and any development. Politics, power, and you promote the welfare and the well-being of the people.
President Akufo-Addo will on Tuesday begin a two-day tour of the Greater Accra region.
Let's still stay with politics because the flag bearer of the opposition National Democratic Congress, John Dramani Mahama, says the construction of dams by the government under its One Village, One Dam project in the northern part of the country has been a complete waste of the taxpayers' money. According to him, the dams, which he describes as ponds, do not meet the right requirements for the intended purpose. We have more in this report.
John Mahama, on day 2 of his campaign tour of the Upper East region, paid a courtesy call on some traditional leaders in the Bako community. Flanked by numerous party sympathizers on motorcycles, he moved to address a mini rally in Bako. Wild scenes of jubilation were seen amongst the crowd. John Mahama assured the people of his government's resolve to complete all abandoned projects, particularly rose in Bako when the NDC emerges victorious in the upcoming election. Describing the current state of dams constructed by the incumbent government as dark ponds, he promised a more viable irrigation system that will withstand all seasons.
When we were in office, we were building the Tamni irrigation dam. We didn't finish before we left office. After we left, that project has come to a standstill. And that project was supposed to irrigate 3,000 hectares of land for dry season irrigation farming. Instead, they went and started again One Village, One Pond. Those little duck ponds that ducks swim in, they call dams. Those dams have been a complete waste of government resources. What our people are looking for is viable dams that can provide water throughout the year so that they can engage in dry season irrigation, farming, and gardening.
Some party executives who welcomed the former president within the Upper East region say the NDC has done a lot more work to secure victory in the polls.
You've seen clearly how the entourage, they've received His Excellency, the former President John Dramani Mahama, into the Boko Central. And so it's clear, absolutely, that the grounds are very fatal. People have understood that they have really made a mistake. We've committed a mistake by voting for the super incompetent president, the Nana Addo government, and therefore we are ready to make the corrections.
Party sympathizers who could not hold back their excitement upon seeing John Mahama shared with Citi News their hope in the leader of the NDC to transform Ghana's economy when given the nod.
Corruption is the way of life of the Kufuor government. If you are a youth and you are a Ghanaian and you want to change Ghana, allow Mahama to come back. Why? President, you are clearing your ministers of corruption allegations. Are you serious? I was working. My work has spoiled and I have 5 children, 2 wives. I'm now suffering. So I have to vote for JM to come back and solve our problems. And then Bola Bakuro, up to now, is still on. They are still no work on it. We are suffering. Because Bamia and Akufo are allowing us and we didn't help us.
He also addressed electorates at Wedana in the Pusiga constituency and Basionde in the Garitimpani constituency.
Still on the NDC's running mate for election 2020, Professor Nana Jane Opoku-Agyeman has called on Ghanaians, especially women, to vote massively for the NDC in the December 7 general elections. Professor Opoku-Agyeman, who was speaking at a separate rally, or rather separate rallies in the Upper West region as part of her 2-day campaign tour, said the next NDC government will vigorously pursue socio-economic development nationwide through innovative policies contained in its manifesto.
Professor Jane Nana Opoku-Agyeman started her 2-day campaign tour of the Upper West region with a courtesy call on the overlord of the Wala traditional area, now Hussein Seydou Pelpo the Save.
The first one is to ask for your prayers. We also want to ask for your partnership. And we want you all, please, with all respect, to join us in preaching the message of peace. That we have one country, we want to preserve it at all costs.
Now Hussein Pelpo admonished the 2 major political parties to be civil in their campaigns.
We have already, at various occasions, spoken at length to the issues regarding the elections. Professor Nana Opoku-Agyeman, the good people of the Upper West region in general, and particularly of the Wala traditional area, are highly honored by this visit of yours. It is yet another pleasure to receive you in our region.
Professor Opoku-Agyeman and her team then traveled to Kajiperi, where she addressed a mini rally to end day one of her campaign tour of the region. She started day two of her visit at the Reverend Paul Edu Methodist Church, where she appealed to the leadership of the church to pray for a peaceful transition.
We know that the days ahead, as have been the patterns, may be turbulent, but we are trusting in His peace. And it depends on all of us, every one of us, regardless where we are, in how we speak, in how we act, in how we think, and even more importantly, in how our actions impact others. So may we all be guided by this. I think we've all been in church long enough, we've had enough tutoring, and we also need the voices of reason to be very constant.
Other communities she visited include Lambuse, Laura, Zambo, and Tapo, where she ended her tour of the Upper West region.
Let's still stay with politics. And the National Democratic Party has clarified that its flag bearer, Nana Akufo-Addo Rawlings, has not pulled out of the December polls. At a press conference on Monday, the party's General Secretary, Alhaji Mohammed Frimpong, said the widow of the former President, Jerry John Rawlings, has also not initiated any discussions with the Electoral Commission over a possible withdrawal from the race, as has been speculated. There's more in this report.
News reports on Monday morning indicated that the widow of the late Jerry John Rawlings, Nana Akufo-Addo Rawlings, who is the founder of the National Democratic Party, had withdrawn from the 2020 polls. The report said Mrs. Rawlings' decision was due to the passing of her husband, who was also the founder of the National Democratic Congress. At a press conference, the party debunked such media reports.
This is fake news, in capital letters, and should be treated as such. Our leader is grieving and should be allowed to do so in peace. Our presidential candidate has not taken any decision to pull out of the race and has not been in communication with the EC. This is just the latest of the lies that the NDC has heaped on the Rawlingses over the last decade. The question you should be asking is this: why is the NDC panicking now over the candidacy of Nana Akufo-Addo Rawlings? Why are they afraid now? It is the ghosts of their own misdeeds and maltreatment of the Rawlingses and the due reward that awaits them on December 7th.
The General Secretary of the NDP, Alhaji Mohammed Frimpong, also accused the opposition NDC of taking advantage of the death of the former president for political gains ahead of the elections.
Did you hear about the babies with sharp teeth? Okay, so what we are saying is that as recently as, don't even go far, you heard in the Unity Walk in Ho, you heard about the Volta God, okay, and so on and so forth. And as recently as a week ago, when the man was even no more, a very good associate and a leader of his founded party says that he was enigmatic. I said NDC. Which people in the NDC? I mean, the NDC is made of people. You know, so who do you want to say? I mean, everybody who's celebrating, I mean, trying to mourn Rawlings today, you know, forgetting about him being a backing dog that they have put on leash, definitely should turn around today and say that they are mourning him.
Now, the Democratic People's Party, DPP, has backed the National Democratic Congress, that's the NDC's presidential candidate John Dramani Mahama, going into the polls in December. The party has asked all its members, supporters and constituency executives to join the NDC campaign with every resource available to ensure the re-election of John Dramani Mahama. Addressing the press at the party's national conference, The national organizer, Eric Oklika, said the manifesto of the NDC deeply resonates with the DPP.
The purpose of this gathering is to declare our withdrawal from the general election and to announce to Ghanaians, to announce to our supporters that we are now supporting the NDC to win the 2020 general election, because we believe in the policies of the NDC. NDC's policies, most of the policies we have is the same thing that NDC is having. So why would we join hands, and then if we are withdrawing, why won't we support them to win the election? NDC has been in government before, and you and I know we can see their work, and the MPP is in government now. I read to you, I told you the corruption rates in this country, where this government is leading us to. With this reason, we want NDC back to power to correct the mistakes of this government.
Now, the High Court has ordered the Electoral Commission to file its response to a suit challenging the disqualification of an independent presidential candidate by Tuesday.
Marik Kofi Gan, one of the 5 disqualified 2020 presidential aspirants, went before the court contesting the Elections Management Body's decision to truncate his ambitions.
Now, Mr. Gan was disqualified in October and accused of forgery, an allegation the Electoral Commission said at the time had been referred to the Criminal Investigations Department of the Police Service for further investigations and possible prosecution.
Marik Kofi Gan and the lawyers of the Electoral Commission are both being ordered to reappear at the Criminal Court 2 Division of the High Court for the case to be heard.
Now, the National Communications Authority has refuted claims that it intends to cause disruptions in media broadcasts and internet service on December 7, 2020.
Now, this comes on the back of media reportage attributed to the flag bearer of the National Democratic Congress, NDC, John Dramani Mahama, suggesting that the NCA is scheming to interfere with broadcasting signals and internet connectivity.
Now, in a statement, the NCA asked the public to disregard the publication because it had no basis.
The NCA explained that as part of its mandate, it has licensed several categories of service providers to deliver internet connectivity to Ghana, and thus does not have access or keys to any of these networks, and therefore cannot remotely shut down the internet.
Now, 2 new entrants from the governing New Patriotic Party and the opposition National Democratic Congress are battling it out to lead the Wa East constituency.
Whereas the NPP's Salifu Yakubu says he is optimistic of retaining the seat due to the various developmental initiatives spearheaded by his party, the NDC's Dr. Godfred Seydou Jasso says his competence and the abysmal performance of the incumbent government gives him a better advantage.
Now, Citi News' Latif Mahama has more.
The Wa East constituency shares boundaries with the West Mamprusi district to the northwest, West Gonja to the south, and Sesale East to the north. Fonsi, the district capital, is about 150 kilometers away from Wa, the Upper West regional capital. According to the Ghana Statistical Service, the Wa East constituency has an estimated population of close to 100,000. The area has 5 major ethnic groups, namely the Gaba, Lobi, Wala, Sesala, and Chakale. Other minority groups are Gonja, Bulses, and Fulani. Like other constituencies in the Upper West region, Agric is the mainstay of the people, engaging over 90% of the inhabitants. Politically, the Wa East voted the NDC in 1992, with Alhaji Isahaku Salia as Member of Parliament. In the 1996 elections, Alhaji Isahaku Salia was re-elected, while the NDC maintained its dominance, winning 75.4% of the presidential votes. Even though the votes for the NDC reduced to 55.8% in the 2000 elections, Alhaji Isahaku Salia still managed to win the parliamentary seat in his third-term bid. He, however, lost to Godfred Bayontangwe in 2004, with the NDC getting a little over 46% of the presidential votes. The MPP maintained their victory in 2008, with Godfred Bayontangwe gaining 10,047, as against the NDC's Amin Salifu, who managed to pull 9,037 votes. Amin Salifu launched a comeback in 2012, defeating Godfred Tango. He was, however, beaten by former Chieftaincy Minister Dr. Seydou Dana during the NDC's parliamentary primaries. Godfred Tango pursued his third-term parliamentary bid in 2016, defeating Dr. Dana to represent the Wa East in Parliament. Despite these smooth political transitions, residents say the Wa East constituency is still plagued by poor roads, inadequate infrastructure, lack of health facilities, and youth unemployment.
The key issues confronting Wa East, there are many, but basically we look at one, the youth empowerment aspect. The youth we are many in the constituency and we are challenged in several ways. One is about skills. Two is about education. And largely we are an agrarian constituency and most of the youth are interested in agric. But their challenge is how to get the support in doing it. Sometimes they have the powered eye, the strength that they can do certain number of farm acres that they can plow on, but they don't have the natural resources to do that. And we are looking at ways that we can get, in a way, support from some other people or people who can aid us in one way or the other so that we can also actually produce enough.
I think our constituency is, according to the district league assessment table, is one of the poorest in the country. So we have a lot of development challenges facing us. If you look at the issue of health, you know that you come to realize that a lot of people don't have health facilities. You need to travel a long distance in order to get access to a health facility. So in most cases, you see pregnant women from the constituency, they have to travel from far away from Kundugu to Wa in order to get delivered, which is affecting life seriously.
We still have a number of communities which have no hooked to the national grid. Yeah, the likes of Duse, Motibu, Gurumbele, there are so many, yes. So in that we still have a challenge there, so we need that to extend electricity to those people so that they will also be hooked to the national grid. Yeah. Apart from that, there are other areas, very hard ones. Of course, our road network is very bad. We have a lot of bridges, rivers, and streams at Wa East. So passing through Manwe to Danyakra, you have more than 4 rivers to build, such that it can be more trouble during the rainy season. Apart from that, if you go to Kolpon area, a lot of rivers. So, and some of the areas is the people who have used hoes and cutlass to construct the road.
The MPP parliamentary candidate for Wa East, Salifu Yakubu, says, given his experience as a former assembly member, he is the best candidate to address the development challenges confronting the constituency.
I'm born and bred in Wa East. I come from Manwe, and I schooled in Manwe all right, and I know that my people are lacking behind in terms of development. And my aim is to have an impact in the society in which I live in. So one of my core principles is that wherever I go, I should leave a mark, that people will feel that somebody else have done something here. And it is that drive that has brought me to run for the parliamentary seats for my party in Wa East. The chances are bright. You know, Wa East is, even though we've won it a number of times and the NDC has also won it, but our chances are bright looking at the votes that we have always garnered in every general election. And I think the last time we lost this seat was 2012, and that was when we were not in government. And it has been the trend that when we are not in government, maybe our strength goes down and the opponent is able to kind of overtake us. But this time around, you can see that there's a lot of massive development in the constituency, road infrastructure, school infrastructure, and the district is doing well in terms of progress to development. And I think that with that, we'll be rewarded with another 4 years, and we'll also get a seat as in Parliament.
He says he is sure of retaining the seat for the MPP because his opponent is not known to the constituents.
I grew up in the constituency all my life. I went to my basic school in the constituency. And unlike the other side, from the NDC side, he has never stayed in the constituency. He hasn't schooled in the constituency. And he never schooled there. So for me, I think I'm more entrenched because I know what the people need. And having worked as an assemblyman with the assembly, with my colleague assemblymen, and I've worked for the party too within the constituency and the region as well. So I know the dynamics of the politics in Upper West region as well as Wa East.
A lecturer at the University for Development Studies, Dr. Godfred Sedi Jasau, who is representing the NDC, believes the development dynamics of the Wa East constituency deserves a competent leader who is development-oriented and has the requisite lobbying skills like him to take the residents to the promised land.
I realize that there is always a defective leadership insofar the way the district and constituency have been governed. And so I feel that there is a need for people like me to come in and see what kind of support arrangements you can put in place. And so this was the huge driver for me entering into the contest of MPship. Besides, my party too was much divided, and so the recent history tells you that we needed a unifier to come in and unite the forces to be able to recapture the seat. And the history of the constituency shows that it is always the NDC that's comes into power and you see significant development taking place in the constituency. And so to help my own people, it was evident that we needed to come into the mainstream MPship contest and then go ahead to see what I can contribute in these regards. Now, you realize that one huge priority that I think that we should look at, and that's what is driving me into it, is to rethink the education model that is being applied for in the constituency. And so you have a lot of dilapidated infrastructure that are not even attractive for first-time school comers and so on and so forth. And so how do you retain students? And so quality of it, teachers therefore respond in like manner. And so they are not able, they don't feel that it's attractive to be there and do effective jobs and so on. So one critical thing, and I've started it already, I've decided to start to retool our education in the place. So I supplied some number of schools already with computers to be able to have access to IT learning. In the past, what has happened is people have to write same exam with their counterparts in urban areas, and yet they only see computer being drawn on the chalkboard and so on and so forth. So I managed to bridge this gap to send a number of computers to some of the schools to enable the learning, teaching and learning of IT, for example. I've supported candidates because of the abject nature of poverty. People go to write BEC exam without mathematical sets, and this is the harsh reality. And so for 2 years running, I've been supporting final year candidates with some mathematical sets. So retooling in that regard is helping. I've personally gone to fix some furniture in some of the schools because all the furniture are broken down. NDC supplied them, and in the last 4 years, some are broken down. Nobody has done anything about them. So there are those practical things, but also to change the reorientation that school is what will help us. A school that has brought me this far, a school that opens opportunity. And so my coming in as an academic is self-motivating for younger generations in that place. And so I intend to pursue that line very seriously and vigorously.
Dr. Jasau denied assertions by his opponent that he is new to the constituency.
Well, I think he doesn't know me so much because I'm relatively around. I've been more around than him. I started teaching in the constituency 23 years ago from training college. That was my first post. So I've trained kids from the constituency as a trained teacher. And so for 2 years I taught in the constituency, produce students and who are even working in my campaign now and so on. And then the same, my opponent's village, Manwe, that's where I grew up from. That's my grandmother's village. And so I've been more in that constituency than him, and the kids in his own village know me better than him, and so on. And so it's not correct. I've started my services in that constituency, done a lot of interventions. I've been a teacher for the past 10 years in the university. I've been a lecturer. We've been doing community outreach. Most of our students are in my constituency. I monitor them, so I'm in constant touch with the constituency. Like I said, I've kept a farm there myself. I've been farming there, so I've interacted with them. Of course, I haven't come out into mainstream politics and so on, but I have to tell you, it is that experience of interacting with the community and working with the community and the constant touch with them that has necessitated the need for me to intervene in this manner.
So how will constituents vote in the December poll?
There are a number of key issues that I will look at before I will take my decision. One is that I look at a developmental-oriented person, and looking at West East, a lot of my life I realized that it is the NDC that have brought more development into West East. If we look at in terms of road network, it is NDC that brought those things. If I look at in terms of electricity, it is the NDC that brought those things. Water, NDC. Healthcare is NDC. And I talk about education. In the secondary schools, it is the NDC that brought the 2 secondary schools in West East. And they also facilitated the training college in West East as well. So when you're looking at it, we are going to look for people that are developmental oriented. And then I think it's the NDC that is into that direction. And in terms of my parliamentary candidate, I have seen that in the NDC candidate is a sustainability scientist and someone who is more development oriented. And I would like to go for that person.
We are farmers here. We need markets and those things to sell our produce. At first, we were not having good road to carry our produce to one market. But now, I think you can see it. This one is clear for us to see. I'm not the one saying it. Yes. There is a program we call Planting for Food and Jobs and Rearing for Food and Jobs. These two programs came in to support us in this community. I think there are a lot of people in this community which the government have given, some tips to, to rail. I think there are things that are helping the community. And then we here, majority of us are farmers. So this Planting for Food came out here to save us. At first, if we want to buy fertilizer, you have to move to the regional capital. That's why, in order to buy fertilizer. But for now, we can access fertilizer in this our very community because our people are now agents. They'll carry the fertilizer from Accra or is it Kumasi straight to Manwe here. So we have been selling here. And this fertilizer, government will pay 50% of it. And we, the farmers, we are paying only 50. I think this season we just bought them 44 Ghana cedis and 46 Ghana cedis.
For Citi News, my name is Latif Mahama, reporting.
Yes, so watching the Citi Newsroom, my name is Vivian Kai. Look, we're here with
Umaru Sandamadu.
When we come back, over 2,000 traders who were affected by the fire outbreak at the Odona Pedestrian Mall in Accra appeal for help.
We have that story and more, don't go away.
Rigworld Solutions, forging the frameworks of Ghanaian industry. Engineering solutions from the heart of Takrady, Kejebil. At Rigworld Solutions, we manufacture industrial bolts and nuts, fasteners, hoses and fittings for the extractive and petrochemical industries. World-class products with local expertise. Locate our factory in Kejebil off the Takrady Takwa Road. Call 0302 949917 or 0540 107504. Email enquiries at rigworldsolutions.com. Rigworld Solutions, crafted in Ghana, engineered for the world.
Looking for something new this November? Looking for star-studded suspense?
It's what rich, entitled people do when threatened. They conceal the ugly truths to protect themselves.
Maybe you're in search of true love.
Roses are red, violets are blue. I got a crush on you, baby, would you be my boo?
What about a bit of family drama? Need something to keep the kids entertained?
We're ready to help with the case, Mira. We'll look for clues.
Perhaps criminally good comedy is your thing. Whatever you're in the mood for, look no further than DSTV.
During tough times, we need a competent leader we can trust to keep us all safe.
Nana gave me free water when I needed it most to keep me clean and safe from COVID-19.
Nana gave me lower cost of internet during COVID-19 to operate my small business from home.
Nana told us to trust him to keep our children safe from COVID-19 when we sent them back to school. Nana was right.
Nana gave me free electricity in my hour of need during COVID-19.
Nana told us to trust him to keep Ghana safe from COVID-19.
Thank you, sir. Hello, my name is Samuel Ofori, a film actor and a film director. Because of the nature of my job, the taste for quality things is endless. Quality phones, quality laptops, quality TV sets. Let me show you my secret. Here is Franco Trading Enterprise. My secret for quality laptops, quality phones, quality TV sets, accessories, come on. External hard drive, pen drive, name it. For bulk purchase and retails, come to Franco Trading Enterprise. They'll reduce the price for you. Franco Trading Enterprise. Home quality phones.
Responsibly. Not for sale to persons under 18. Not recommended for pregnant women. This advertisement has been vetted and approved by the FDA.
You're welcome back to the Citi Newsroom. Now, in exactly 2 weeks, electorates across the country will partake in the 2020 general elections. Now, market women are not an exemption of the electoral process. Our reporter, Kosi Ochre, visits some traders in Accra to tell us the expectations ahead of the polls.
So this is Citi News, and we are still counting down to the December 7 elections. We are throwing spotlights on the Sudu market here in Accra. We are yet to find out from the market women who they are going to vote for and what their expectations are on that very day. Join me as I have an interaction with them.
Only problem, no problem. For Nana, me who shekula, why free education no clear, yeah, MPP bar, yenya and for so be free home.
No, they want my vote, Marco for Adwaji. He and Nabi Baba, Bodeka Babia Keba school free, and how a vote for Halle. akebe jina kan e fe le free ni won na bi ya school lele hu e ba fe
kufu aduba no ye tumi tena se ton ade. Oh, it's making a first and so tissue partner, Jeff,
okay, so while some women are thinking that the NPP government have done so much by providing the basics for them, that is education, some of the market women also think otherwise. They think that they need a change.
Mama has already won. And we know that he's already won because we are suffering. If you look at the masses, we are suffering and nothing is working. You sell, they don't buy. You buy, you can't sell. All the economy is upside down.
Yeah, free education, no. Yeah, be called the best what I say. You couldn't name I will fear one more. Who sits to school down? I said, away free education. Who sits school down? Who's who bear free education? Free education, no one.
So, the baseline of what these market women here at Tudu in Accra are saying is that they are ready for the December 7 elections just to cut their votes. But all they want is that the EC should ensure that there's a peaceful election. For Citi News, I am Akosi Alchi.
Now, over 2,000 traders were affected by the fire outbreak at the Odorna Pedestrian Mall in Accra, appealing to benevolent organizations to come to their aid. The National Board for Small-Scale Industries, NBSSI, has so far registered over 1,500 affected traders to support them with funds per President Akufo-Addo's directive. Speaking to Citi News, the executive director of the NBSSI, Kosi Yankee Aye, said by the end of the registration on Tuesday, November 24, her outfit would determine the number of people they are to provide support for. There's more in this report.
President Akufo-Addo on Tuesday, November 19th, directed the National Board for Small-Scale Industries, NBSSI, to provide urgent support to affected traders at the Odorna Pedestrian Shopping Center to aid them restart their businesses. On Wednesday, November 18th, hundreds of stores were demolished by a fire that gutted the Odorna Shopping Center, destroying properties running into thousands of Ghana cedis. The government is yet to provide funds to the NBSSI for onward disbursement to the affected traders. Executive Director of the NBSSI, Kosi Yankee Aye, says funds to be received will depend on the number of affected persons who will be registered by Tuesday, November 24th.
Today is really very depressing and sad to realize that people's life savings and what people have put together, unfortunately doesn't exist anymore. So we need to be able to also provide some form of relief. On Friday, we met with all the stakeholders, the relevant stakeholders. We've actually aligned with them. They've brought the database that they have to support us. We set up a space at the Obra Spot, the former Obra Spot, and on Saturday we went straight to work and we started registering them. I think the most important thing is that we were not looking at how much to put aside because we didn't want to limit what the work was. So most importantly for us at NBSSI is to really understand who are the people. Once we have an understanding of who are the people and what their real needs are and how we can provide that support, the government will do what is best and what is necessary to ensure that we provide some form of support to them.
Right behind me is an ongoing registration exercise for the affected market women of the Odorna Pedestrian Shopping Mall. Now, this the NBSSI believes will aid them provide funds in supporting the affected traders. Reporting for Citi News, I am Na Adjoli Mofat.
Still on the Citi Newsroom. National Commission on Small Arms and Light Weapons concerned about the security in the Banda constituency of the Bono region ahead of the December polls.
Stay with us, we'll be right back.
Where the road environment is not lighted at night, visibility is poor. Drivers rely on the lights of the vehicle to drive at night. The lights also make other road users see the size of the vehicle and make room for it. When it gets dark, switch on your low beam the moment you put on your parking lights. If an approaching driver maintains a high beam, alert the driver by flicking your beams once. Do not retaliate with your high beam because it will blind the approaching driver who could run into your vehicle. The high beam should only be used when you are the only driver on the road. Stop road crashes now. Stay alive.
This road safety education is brought to you by the National Road Safety Authority.
Hi, my name is Salamatu. Yes, these are both me. You see, before free SHS, my life could have taken two very different paths. The SHS path depended on how much money my parents had, what sacrifices they were willing to make, and whether they would send me or my little brother Issa to SHS. The other part is what would have become of me if there was no free SHS. But today, thanks to free SHS, my future is bright and promising.
Congratulations, you have a name. He's a boy.
Instead of depending on others, I will stand on my own feet and help my family. Free SHS is where my dreams for a better future and the dreams of thousands of young girls become a reality. Don't let NDC take it away from us. Vote for NPP and give all Ghanaian girls a chance for a better future.
Looking for something new this November? Looking for star-studded suspense?
It's what rich, entitled people do when threatened. They conceal the ugly truths to protect themselves.
Maybe you're in search of true love.
Roses are red, violets are blue. I got a crush on you, baby, would you be my boo?
What about a bit of family drama? Need something to keep the kids entertained?
We're ready to help with the case, Mira. We'll look for clues.
Perhaps criminally good comedy is your thing. Whatever you're in the mood for, look no further than DSTV.
Ghanaian women, the strong pillars on which this great nation is built. Ghanaian women who go above and beyond what is needed to make Ghana home, the front and center of any revolution. Ghanaian women who stand up to oppressors and stand up for peace. Ghanaian women who have built this economy pessoa by pessoa. To be a Ghanaian woman is to be a good woman. And MPP is dedicated to creating more opportunities for the Ghanaian woman to shine. A government that is empowering Ghanaian women to take their place at the forefront of society. Because the bones of yesterday are the stepping stones to a brighter tomorrow. And we know the future is woman. So now is the time to organize, mobilize, and put our votes where our future is. So Yanko, good woman, Swabapa, vote NPP. Vote for more for Nana.
Yeah, welcome back to the Citi Newsroom. Now, the National Media Commission has introduced an app to help deal with the threat of fake news during the general elections in December. The Commission says it is also partnering with policy think tank Center for Democratic Development Ghana to sensitize journalists on the need for factual and accurate reportage. Now, speaking at the launch on Monday, Chairman of the NMC, Yabwedu Ayeboafo, charged all journalists to be circumspect in their coverage of this year's polls.
We must ensure that there's fairness, there's balance in all our reports, so that even when people do not agree with you, they will not say that this one there, because the facts are clear. One good thing about the app is the fact that fake news could be stopped. Because whatever is recorded and submitted is fact-checked, is dated, and it is GPS stamped. With this new app, you are able, because of the date and the GPS stamp, to determine whether something that you have to put faith on. Yeah, but even on that, I said that we in the mainstream media need to exercise a lot of care. The social media we say that social media is so pervasive and so effective, but some of the time we are the one who validate what their inaccuracies. Because when the speculation began and any one of us picks that and put it on our station, whether for purposes of seeking clarification or explanation, we indirectly validate that and give that prominence more than it could ever have had.
Then the National Commission on Small Arms and Light Weapons is calling for more to be done in the Banda constituency in the Bono region in the run-up to the December polls. Now, this is to ensure peace before, during, and after the December election. Senior Programs Officer at the National Commission on Small Arms and Light Weapons, Leonard Tete, made the appeal during a sensitization program with the two parliamentary candidates in the constituency, Ahmed Ibrahim and Joe Dankwa of the NDC and NPP, respectively. Well, that's it for today's edition of the Citi Newsroom. Log on to our website. We have more stories there. Subscribe to CityTube on YouTube for more exclusive video contents from Citi TV.